Hi everyone, my name is Camille Hugh and I'm a writer, filmmaker, editor, and VFX artist. And on today's episode of This Fix Works, I'm going to show you a really cool way to stabilize shaky footage in Premiere Pro with Warp Stabilizer that has a lot of moving elements inside the footage without having to manually mask it out in Premiere Pro. So this was a tip that I learned from another YouTuber. Actually, his video Warp Stabilizer Hacks introduced me to the concept of masking out your subjects and then putting Warp Stabilizer on it to get a better track. And I recently shot a short film called Need to Relax. It's about a horrible massage based on a semi-true story.
You looking for a five-star massage parlor?
It was hilariously bizarre and you should definitely go check it out. Actually pause this video, go watch it, and then come back here. But yeah, so I had this really shaky tracking long shot that needed to be stabilized. And I really didn't want to have to manually mask us out because Premiere Pro has the worst masking feature. It's horrible, it's terrible. And I wanted to avoid using it at all costs. So I wanted to find a workflow, a workaround where I could still use the kind of tenets of what this other YouTuber was teaching without having to manually mask. And I did. I found a really good workaround that I'm going to share with you now with the footage from Need to Relax.
Okay, so here we are in Premiere, and this is the footage that I'm working with. This is actually the final result, and I'll show you the before, just a snippet of it. So this is the entire clip here, but here I'll show you the before, and you can see how incredibly shaky it is. This was shot handheld, and we only did one take because it was a 48-hour film challenge and we didn't have much time. So that is it before, and this is it after. So it's not perfect, but it's a lot better. It's a lot more stable and you're not getting those crazy warping results that you normally get with this effect with Warp Stabilizer. So I'll show you what I did, and I might recreate it just so you can see. Let's just take this shot. What shot is it? It's this shot. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it like at the end of my timeline. Okay, so here's the original clip here. And so what you want to do, what I always recommend doing, is holding down the Alt key and taking it up a layer. Hold down the Alt key and just drag it up a layer, and that is how you duplicate the layer. And then on the new layer, you want to right click and you want to replace with After Effects composition. And when you go into Adobe After Effects, you'll get that clip. It'll take a little second here on my computer. Okay, so what you want to do is you double click that file there. This is a composition, and you click up the top here where it says Rotor Brush Tool. And one cool rotor brush trick that I've learned is to use Lumetri color. So if you go into effects panel here and you type in Lumetri, or yeah, I think it's Lumetri color, and then you drag it onto your timeline, and then you adjust the curves to get just more contrast with your image, then it's just easier to kind of separate the image from the background, easier to track. And what we're tracking is anything that's moving in the shot that'll throw off the stabilizer. So basically these people here, I don't want that to be a part of what the computer is tracking. So I'm gonna hold on to the rotor brush tool and hit Control and make it bigger, and click on the person, and Alt to delete the areas that you don't want. And I won't go do this the entire thing, but you press spacebar to track. You let it track, and I won't bore you with that, but basically you also want to track when the new person comes into the frame. So in my case, like, you would go through, and anyways, once you finish doing all that tracking, I always recommend to freeze the frame. And so let's just go here and freeze, because I've already tracked this, but you would want to freeze the frame when you're done. And then you go back into Premiere, and then this file is here. And it should be just because we didn't really finish. Okay, yeah. So the comp, it should just be like this. In Premiere, you should see that. So, right. So this is what it should look like, when you get in there. Then what you want to do, so I'm going to take my original. Okay, so after you've, where is it? Right. Okay. After you've imported the video, you want to go to, I think this is it, Comp 7. Right click, modify, interpret footage. And you want to come in here and select invert, if I'm correct. Yes, you want to invert the alpha channel. And so you see, like, this is an error here. You should have these fingers should be included. And what I would recommend you do is going back into After Effects, feathering this out to cover areas that you might have missed. So let's say it's frozen, so you would have to unfreeze it to make any adjustments, but yeah. So you want to feather it out. You go in there, you invert the alpha, and then you want to go into your effects and go to type track matte. So you want the bottom clip to go on top, the After Effects matte to go on the bottom. Then you want to go to track matte and bring that over. And then you want to click the video that it's on. So this is on 2. So you would click 2. Whatever track your video is on, that's the one you want to have the track matte key apply the effect to. Then after you've done that, you want to highlight both and right click and nest. Make a new nested sequence. And then you want to go into the effects and type in warp stabilizer. Oops. And you're going to drag that on top. And then stabilize. So I obviously didn't completely track this one. So what we're going to do is just cancel that. And I'll show you what, if you were to hit that nested sequence, it would look like this. So once it's tracked, you go into your nested sequence and you would just toggle this here off. And then when you go back into your original timeline, you'd be left with something that looks like that. And then what I've done here is, because I didn't want to, this is it's a long tracking shot. Like, this is the original shot. I only wanted to apply the stabilization to the end. But what happens if you stabilize the entire clip, like everything gets usually cropped. And I wanted the full, I wanted this to be a wide shot here. So a little trick that I recommend is to first line up, where this shot, your new shot, the size of that with your original. So if you look here, this is the top layer, how much it's cropped in. And that's the original one there. So you just want to kind of, this is the original one with my scaling already done. But you would line up your new layer here in terms of scale and position to your bottom layer, how much it crops in. You want to line up your bottom layer with that one, which is what I did here. And then you just kind of slowly scale it into it. So in order for it to line up, I had to scale it to 118, which meant that I went over here. At 100, I started scaling in so that it wasn't just an abrupt kind of transition. So that's a little tip that I would offer. See? And then you don't even notice that transition. And for the transitions, I always would recommend you highlight and use a Bezier instead of a linear. So it's just a little bit more seamless. And that's the fix for not having to manually mask out your subjects when you want to do a stabilization effect on your clip. And if anything, needs to be updated or changed, you could always just go back into your next sequence and, it's there if you want it. So I think this is a really great tip that filmmakers, editors, might want to use.
So yeah, that's it. I hope this video was helpful to you. This tip, helps you save some time and some energy and some frustration. And if so, please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel. Go check out my other videos and my short films, and follow me on Instagram at sittinpretty. And until the next time, bye.